Suresh.
Hey Leon, within the blink of an eye, we're back again for our
again,
next podcast.
Yes. Okay. I just read a word called money dysmorphia. Do you know
Wow,
what that is?
big words,
Yeah.
big words. I actually know what money dysmorphia
Can you
is.
explain in plain English?
I think in plain English is the new modern version of trying to keep up with the Jonases, right?
Which means?
People who are rich, who look rich, and affluent and everything else may not really be rich, but you are going beyond yourself, right? To match up with them, right? And this as a trend that's on the rise, right? Especially among the young, there's a very strong correlation between the rise of people feeling this feeling of money dysmorphia and social media.
Okay.
Can you guess why?
No, I can't guess why. Oh, is it because in social media they put out only all the good bits? A gathering with friends at a nice fancy cafe, going to the newest places, going on holiday overseas during school holidays, right?
Right. I mean, it's interesting statistics where we read through this article that 30% of Americans, right? 30% of Americans. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more people in Asia as well. Right? I mean, the Asian culture is pretty much more stronger in trying to match up with them, right? So I think that's coming on the rise, and these people feel a sense of, even though some of them may be actually wealthy, right? They themselves, but they find a problem with owning, correlating that wealthiness to having the right financial security within yourself, right? So I feel it's a bit of psychological thing, Leon.
So is this supposed to be a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, the way I've described, I hope people know it's a bad thing.
Well, can I just...
Unless I'm not describing correctly.
can I just see the flip side of it being a good thing? It being a good thing means you've got to work harder to keep up appearances, to be able to keep up with your peers. You've got to try harder. You may have to aspire towards bigger things, right? And hopefully that translates to working harder, working smarter.
Hopefully that translates to it and everything else. But we are. I mean, the fact that it's mentioned that money dysmorphia is rising, and the fact that it's rising among the young, right? When you say young, we're talking about big numbers, the millennials, the Zs, and everything else. And these people have not started working, right? They've not started working, right? So things are beyond their
control. Or they
control.
may have just started working.
Or they may have just started working. Everything. So a lot of them are still using, at least in Asian culture, you're still using a father mother's money. Right? You're still using a father's money, and then suddenly you see your friend, right? Probably just graduate of the university, driving his father's car. Right? Comes up with his BMW and everything else. Looks flashy, looks nice, and everything else, right? And you feel, wow, his father bought for him a car and everything else. My father didn't buy me a car, and I feel so left out. I can't go to the same places as they go to and everything else. And I think that's really not about how hard you work, right? That's just the circumstances that you see over there, and you think that you need to feel that you need to belong into this group.
And really, it's something that social media has accentuated. Because obviously, if I didn't see the person driving a BMW these days, right, I may see that person driving that BMW on social media.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Right. Whereas in the older days, things can be kept under wraps. I don't know where this person went to for lunch or dinner. These days, I mean, it's all over the place, right? It's very common, right? You see people in a restaurant or a cafe, the food arrives, it's almost compulsory to take a picture first before devouring the food.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Sorry, guilty as charged.
Yes. Leon is a food blogger, by the way. Not a full-time food blogger. Whenever he likes it. But I think that is the crux of the matter. So money dysmorphia, I do really feel that what the things that you look around, people are getting really influenced by what they see on social media. They're unable to distinguish what is real from virtual. Right? Just because someone has a good day out does not mean that is his life. Right? Correct. I mean, you want to see Leon going to his Michelin star restaurant, having his restaurant food, fair. But you don't see Leon at 7 o'clock getting up and getting Richie out for a walk. Right? And if you don't know who Richie is, that's the most precious part of his life.
Four-legged son.
Four-legged son, yes. Four-legged son. So there's a lot of people of. I mean, I go through the old adage, right? I mean, there's always somewhere along the way, you know, there's a concept of trade-off, right? If you want
Yep.
to show the high life, there's also low parts of the life that you want to associate yourself with,
But
right?
nobody wants to see this on social media, right? Nobody wants to see me eating, plain 猪腸粉 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
That costs like $2.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it goes back to the whole thing right now. You know, when people talk about successes and businesses, right?
Yeah.
How the whole encyclopedia
Yeah.
of business talk, whenever
Yeah.
they use reference and examples,
Yeah.
I can tell you,
Yeah.
they 99% of the time, they always talk about 10 people.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a Warren Buffett,
Yeah,
it's a
Jeff
Apple, Steve
Bezos,
Jobs,
yeah,
it's a
correct,
Jeff
yeah,
Bezos,
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
Sundar
yeah,
Pichai,
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, who
Right?
wants to listen to Mr. Tan Lee Huat?
Tan Lee Wat. Who wants to listen to someone who actually made it big in the Middle East?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Who wants to listen to the I mean, even fast retailing,
Yeah.
Japan, right?
Okay, yeah.
Who wants to listen to him, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know who fast retailing is. I mean, they own Uniqlo, right?
Well, I mean, guilty as charged. If I see on Facebook an article quoting what Warren Buffett is saying, I click.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So understand, business is such a difficult competitive environment, right? A lot of people fail.
Yeah.
A lot of people fail. I mean, they say 70-80% of the businesses within 3 years fold, right? But people don't talk about the folded businesses.
yep.
But that does not mean the people who folded business work anything lesser
I agree.
or harder
Yep.
than the people who succeeded.
Yes,
Right?
correct.
There's a
Yep.
big elements to it.
Yep.
No one wants to talk about it, right? Because it's easier to sell hope.
Hope.
It's
Yes,
easier to
it's
sell the
success.
sunshine.
Yes.
It's easier to sell my trip
Yeah.
in Santorini
Yep.
rather than my getaway in JB.
Well, talking about selling hope, that's what Estee Lauder say they sell. They don't sell cosmetics, they sell hope.
Do they?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No wonder the share price in the global drops. But I think what social media. I like the word that you use, beyond accentuates. Right?
Yeah.
I think what the money dysmorphia is talking about is a distortion from
Yeah,
reality.
yeah, yeah.
People understand social media is actually a virtual reality created by all of us.
Yes,
All of us, right? If you
correct.
look at it, it's created by us. So if you look at you don't have to think so much. You just think of all your friends,
Yeah.
right? Do they put the best things or the worst things on this one? And let me tell you, that used to be
Yep.
taking photos was easy,
Yep.
right? But right now you have so much filters, so
Yep.
much tools
Yes,
for you
correct.
to perfect the photo
Yes,
before
correct.
you put in.
Correct.
And I cannot believe the amount of time and
Yeah.
energy
People spend
the
on
young
filtering,
ones,
yes.
the young ones,
Right, yeah.
especially the young ones,
Yeah.
because they're very nifty with it.
Yep.
Okay, they're really good with it, right?
Yep.
Spend so much time before they put a perfect picture.
Yep.
The lightings.
Yes,
right?
correct.
and
The
everything.
angle,
and the
whatever,
angles.
yeah.
So what you get is the best of the best of the
Yes,
best.
yes, correct. Only
And
the
then-
best of the best.
Okay, and then you start benchmarking everything about yourself to the
Yeah.
best of the best of the
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
But you do understand
Yeah.
the rest is all the worst, which they're not showing
Yes,
around the world.
of course.
Right. Maybe they should start another social media channel called the worst of your Facebook. And then people probably normalize,
Yeah.
normalize the center median. Oh, this is what the world is about.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah.
else. So we spoke a little about money dysmorphia, but let's not have this chat
Yeah.
in one way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what can we advise or tell the young ones, right? How do you, or even people
Yeah.
who are well-to-do, not to fall into this trap?
Well, I don't know if it is at all possible, and you and I suffer from one drawback, is that both of us do not have kids.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
I wouldn't say a drawback, but anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Again, perspective, right? Perspective, right?
Yes,
Right,
it's
right.
all perspective.
Right.
So I'm not sure we are best placed to advise, but I mean,
Exactly.
from our position, I mean, look, this is here to stay.
Yes.
Even I'm sure when we were growing up, at least
And it's going to get more and more
Correct.
pronounced.
Yes, more pronounced, right? And even when I was growing up in my early 20s, late teens, pre-social media, obviously that was a long time ago, right? You know, my generation had an inkling to buy maybe some branded stuff. You know, back
Right.
then, like this
Just an
brand,
inkling, right?
Guess was very popular.
Oh,
the
yes.
triangular
Oh, yes.
brand, right?
I guess watches before.
Guess what? Yeah, correct. The jeans, right?
Yes.
Your Levi's 501.
Yes,
yeah.
that's still the in thing.
That's the main thing, right? Even like the cologne will have to be from Armani or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was already a bit of that in us. I think that was a growing up phase that you will see in people with or without social media.
Right.
It's just that with social media, again, this gets amplified so many times.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because you want to be in that group.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to be able to go to that cafe that sells a cup of latte for $8.
Yes.
And because you see that your friend's so happy drinking it,
Right.
she claims it to be the best cafe in Singapore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you want to be there.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I find it very difficult to get into the part to advise
Yeah.
the Z
Yeah, correct.
generation because I think their pressures is very
Yeah.
different.
Yep.
Their lifestyles are
Yeah.
very different.
Yep.
And when we might be just normalizing too much
Yeah.
about the peer pressure
Yep.
of belonging, right? I mean, it's part of being us as
Yeah.
humans,
Yeah.
social creatures.
Yeah.
We want to belong.
Yeah.
We want to have communities. I mean,
correct.
that's exactly why
Correct.
we went to COVID.
Yep.
We moved away from each other.
Yep.
But the moment COVID
Yeah.
went away,
We go
we
back.
want to come
Yeah,
back again,
correct,
right?
correct.
So
Yeah.
so that's so people want to belong, right? So
Yes.
it's innate in you, right?
It is innate. Like for example, during COVID, one of the biggest restrictions is not being able to share a same table, eat food outside.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
And that was killing, right?
Right.
I almost attempted suicide because of that.
But having said that, I mean, we obviously we know our blind spots
Yeah.
as well, right? But I want to talk to the people which we think we can advise, right? Or at least share
Yeah, yeah.
what we see, our perspectives is that the people who are wealthy,
Yep.
right? Wealthy,
Yep.
but because of money dysmorphia,
Yeah.
right? They find they're not financially secure. And just quoting a statistics over here, in the US, only 14% of themselves
Yeah.
feel wealthy. In fact, the number is actually higher, right? So this is more of a psychology,
Yes.
comparing yourself into the wrong benchmark. I
Yep.
mean, to me in social media is an evolving benchmark. Every day the benchmark is different,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Depends who pushes shit to
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Okay, let me take back that word, not shit to you.
Okay.
Who pushes you
Pushes.
glitzy stuff to you?
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
I think we can give some advice to this group of people, Leon.
Psychologically, I think it's just a phase that they have to go through, and maybe when they are a bit more mature, they'll grow out of that phase,
Right.
right? I think the one way that you can almost get that person to be a bit more grounded if that person is still not earning any money, you have a sort of fixed budget for that person if you're the parent. For
Right.
example, that person, look, it's your choice. I give you, say, $50 a week. Right, if you want to go to cafe, yeah, but you got to understand the trade-off. You go to cafe today, you have a lot less to live on for the next 5-6 days, right? So that inculcates a sort of behavior you associate with good money habits. That there are limited means and unlimited wants,
Right.
right? It works the same way in corporate finance, right? Every department you get a budget every year.
Sure.
It works in government, when we hear the budget statement, there's actually an allocation of budget to each and every ministry, right? You can have, say, $5 million to spend this year, and make sure you live within your means, right? It applies to financial planning, even for retirees.
Yes.
Right, because again, we are not rich, we have a specific number, and we have to live within that number.
Exactly.
So I think while we don't want to straitjacket the young into sort of like enjoying their life a
Straight jacket.
bit,
Wow,
yeah, right,
strong
right.
words.
Yeah, straitjacket. Yep, enjoying their life.
You
and
know what?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
digressing a bit. When you say straight jacket,
Yeah.
the impression that came to me straight away is Anthony Hopkins in Animal.
Yeah, okay, maybe it's too strong word, but you know what I mean, right?
Hannibal.
Hannibal, yeah. So, in life, you have more of this, you have less of that.
Right.
So, go to a cafe for all you want,
Yeah.
but make sure you do something to save enough money to make sure you live out the rest of the week because you've only got $50
Yeah.
for this week.
Yeah.
Right?
So to me, it's I look at a practical part of how we can do this, especially for the wealthy, right? So
Yeah.
if you have gone to a state of wealthiness, that
Yeah.
means you have all the assets and everything else. There's somehow, some way, you are comfortable with the money language, or you
Yep.
should be, right?
Yep.
So somewhere along the way, practical financial planning
Yep.
is a really good way for you to
Yep.
adapt,
Correct.
or at least integrate
Yep.
into habit everything
Yep.
else, because
Yep.
it gives you practical, robust
Yep.
tools for you to be able to actually grow stronger in your psychology, right? So it asks you very practical questions, right? What's your number? What's your goal? What's your aspirations, right? And you sit down there, you identify that, you understand yourself, everything else. And if you reach a level of wealthiness, right, which actually sort of helps you reach the goals and everything else, that reviews, the constant reviews that you have with your financial planner, or even sometimes with yourself, because sometimes the people over here, their FQ is quite high. The financial quotient is quite high, right? You can have your I mean, since you already reached wealthiness, who am I to say that you know you have not hit upon the goal yourself, right? You probably have a tried and trusted way, and doing the reviews for yourself, robust reviews for yourself. I mean, you don't really have to have new tools, an Excel sheet and everything else. And if that numbers look good, right? You should feel better for yourself, right? Regardless what the Jonases seem to show you and everything. Let me tell you, Jonases may be more stacked in liabilities than assets.
Oh yeah, of course. You never know, right?
You never know.
Driving
Exactly,
a
you never
fast
know,
car,
right?
but you don't know, like, is he taking a 10-year loan, 7-year loan for that? Right? How much of a loan is he taking? How much interest is paying for that?
Yeah, and in US, and in US, what do you call when you do taxes, right? It's much more complex, right? Versus in Singapore, right?
Yes.
And there's a lot of tax breaks that you can have for many different things. Different things. Like for example, if you're running a business, right? And if you can show negative, you can show a loss for the business, you can carry over the loss in the next few more years as tax breaks, right? And there's a lot of ways you can buy an expensive car, put it on the company balance sheet. Leon can validate whatever I'm talking about, right? He has all the rights to validate that, right? And then that looks bad on the balance sheet, but looks overall better for you as an asset liability on a personal basis.
Correct. Yes, talking about money, assets, and liabilities, right? Other than the impact of social media, I think one of the drivers of this money dysmorphia is that we get, for example, money lenders pushing out a lot of these SMSs offering you supposedly cheap loans, right?
Cheap loans.
Yeah,
Looks
cheap. Looks cheap, right?
Looks cheap.
So, and sometimes I get calls from them as well. From, let's say, not money lenders, but from a bank representative.
Right.
I got one just 2 days ago. Say, hey, Mr. Low, do you want to take out our offer of a new credit line? You can use it to go on a holiday, blah, blah, buy this, buy that. I mean, why would I want to say?
You sure they offered that to you?
Yeah, they did. Why would I want to do that? To go on holiday, but I'm sure this sort of service does have its takers. Otherwise, I won't be getting calls from them.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. So there's an availability of credit and liquidity. You may only have like $2 in a bank account, but you think, wow, there's this fella offering you a $5,000 thing, supposedly on low interest rates. And you think, ooh, okay, I just saw my friend going to Czech Republic last month.
Right.
Maybe I can do that.
Right.
And come back, I'll work off to pay off the loan. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that gets to be a nice segue into a very a topic on the fringe, right? Basically, people taking on a lot of debt, okay, to finance their lifestyle,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if you actually scrap through the top part, right? You can find it, but a lot of us do not have time to do that, right? So it's easier for you to quickly make a judgment call that if a guy comes up in a Rolls Royce, he must be rich. It's a human brain shortcutting, right? Human brain shortcutting. So that's what happens, right? It's a debt-fueled lifestyle. I mean, it's everywhere and everything else.
Yes,
but
correct.
there's a pros and cons. There's people who can handle debts, right? There's nothing wrong with that. The people who can handle debts very well, right? You should know yourself. And the people who cannot handle debts, right? Who are you? Right? Are you a person well versed to handle debt so that you can use it for your advantage? Then you know what? Kudos to you. You're on the right place. You're in the right part of the world. Right?
But to some extent, some debt is inevitable. For example, if you buy a home, an apartment, a flat, or whatever, you naturally will take on some debt. You're not going to wait for 15 years, 20 years to accumulate what you need and then buy that home. Right. So that, in a way, is sort of like good debt. But providing you're not overextending your debt capabilities. Like, for example, if you're earning 5K, don't take on a debt worth like 2 million. I don't think any bank will give you that anyway, right?
Right, exactly.
So, but that in a way is good debt.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we've come into a point where people actually started differentiating good debt and bad debt, right?
Correct. Bad debt is one that obviously is just to fuel your lifestyle. the 5,000 you take from a money lender to go to Czech Republic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But again, that's our opinions,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So,
our
so
opinion.
for some
Yeah.
people that
Yeah.
taking on the debt
Yeah.
to having that richer lifestyle,
Yep.
right, makes sense for them because they feel more higher esteem,
Yes,
right? They
correct.
feel confident about themselves.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong about it, right? The question is, are you comfortable with the debt or not?
Yep.
Right. I mean, right now, credit
Yeah.
card debts
Yeah.
is 26% annual,
Yeah.
or 27%. I'm not sure.
I can
It's just-
guarantee you-
it just keeps on going up.
That is definitely bad debt.
Yeah, that's definitely bad debt. Right?
Without a shadow of a doubt. I don't care what you buy, that's bad debt.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
but I mean we are living in a place and
Yeah.
where everything else. Understand the model of modern capitalism
Yeah.
is banks making money,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So banks take your money, they make money, they use that money to,
Yep.
to finance businesses and everything else, and the economy grows, right?
Mhm.
So bad debt is what makes banks grow.
Yeah, of course. And
Right.
banks are all too willing to extend debts.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
credit.
if banks
On that
are
point of view,
growing
yeah.
and the future of banks
Yeah.
looking good,
Yep,
it
yep.
also means
Yeah.
your debts are not going anywhere.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So that's where a lot of money dysmorphia,
Yeah.
the consequences, the
Yeah.
bad consequences of money
Yeah.
dysmorphia comes up.
Yeah.
Right? So just be careful, right? Just be careful. We don't have actually real answers to that because
No.
it can go so many different ways.
Yes.
Money dysmorphia is it's something.
And because it's psychological.
It's psychological,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. We're
It's
not
psychological.
psychologists.
Yeah, we're not psychologists to start with, right? We are financiologists. Okay, we're financiologists trying to help you to take the edge off a little bit, right? And with that, until our next podcast and within the next blink of the eye,
Yeah.
have a good day.
Cheers.